There's no question about it. Ask any senior citizen residing in Frostbite Falls what the major event of the year is, and he'll reply...
The Frostbite Falls Flotilla Festival.
And why is that?
'Cause all the noisy kids are down at Veronica Lake. Ah, peace, it's loudmouth butterfly.
You really couldn't call it a lake. It's more of a pond. That is, well, actually, I guess you'd call it a sump. At any rate, every boy in the general area had his boat ready to sail.
Bullwinkle, you can't enter the race.
I'd like to know why not. The rules clearly stipulate no human over 10 can participate. I'm about as inhuman as you can get.
You're a moose.
And that's another reason. Oh, see, there's the warning whistle advising all us marinators to ready sail.
Where'd you get that thing?
What thing?
What it is you're about to launch.
And the starry-eyed moose related the story in flashback form of how one day, while ambling along the Old Rocks Road, he stumbled onto an ancient rust-encrusted dhow.
How about that?
A dhow, spelled D-H-O-W, is a sailing vessel primarily used in the Red Sea and Indian Ocean.
Well, she sure is dirty.
Yes, but she's yar.
The starting signal was given and 48 trim little boats put out to sea, or sump. All except Bullwinkle's, which sank upon contact with the water.
It sank.
Yar.
It doesn't matter who won the race. What does matter is that the dhow emerged completely rejuvenated.
Wow, look at it sparkle.
And looky here on the binnacle rock.
That's the bow. It says Omar
Goodness.
Khayyam. Omar Khayyam. Hokey smokes, what do you suppose it means?
Only the library could provide the answer.
Oh, pardon me, ma'am, but could...
Shh! Can't you read?
But we don't smoke.
It says silence. Oh, that darn cat, always stomping around. Scat! Now what is it?
Boats. Books on boats.
Yar.
Aisle 842, lane 30, district 3, shelves 20 to 80 inclusive.
Well, it wasn't easy, but some 6 hours later, they cornered their quarry.
Oh, my gosh. 2 copies of the Ancient Mariner.
By Al B. Troth.
Suddenly, the setting sun bounced its rays off the glittering dhow. This gave the resourceful flying squirrel an idea.
It shines like a gem. Say... Come on.
The reigning authority on minerals, valuable and otherwise, was Digger Deeper, mine owner, prospector, and babysitter on Saturday nights between 8 and 12.
It's a gem, all right. Might be fool's gold.
This is rad. Fool's gold is gold.
Let me give it a closer look. Hand me my loopy. See, I never saw this one before. You boys want to see?
We don't have time, Digger. Come on, Bullwinkle.
And the insistent squirrel led the way to the only jewelry store in Frostbite Falls.
You know what you have here?
We were hoping that you'd tell us.
This little dhow here is composed of ruby. Yes, sir, it's rubies.
No, it isn't. It's mine.
Well, my gosh, if it's made out of rubies, then...
If you're hesitating for me to finish the line, you've got a long wait.
And I don't have the guts to say it.
Okay, then here goes. If it's made out of rubies, then this must be the ruby yacht of Omar Khayyam.
Well, you just don't come up with an awful thing like that and not hit the front page.
Huckstray, read all about it. Rocket hits moon, Wally out for season.
Today's big headline: the birth of 24 caterpillars to a moth in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
I thought the narrator said we'd hit the front page.
We did. The front page of the want ads. See? Moose will sell ruby yacht of Omar Khayyam to any interested party.
I said I wanted to sail the ruby yacht at an interesting party.
Well, that's the press for you.
Well, I sure hope nobody reads this.
A vain wish, I'm afraid, for halfway across the world in the northern section of lower East Pakistan, the ruler of a remote city perused the ad with more than casual interest.
Son of an infidel, eater of vegetables.
What troubles you, O illustrious one?
This what I peruse in the periodical. For years I wait for the artist to paint pupils in the eyes of little orphan Annie.
Patience, O great one. Rome was not built in a day.
What kind of a... Oh! 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 Looky, looky, looky! Oh! Ha! Ha!
Fearing that the Pasha was suffering from a stroke, the Grand Vizier pulled the bell cord.
Someday I gotta get that fixed.
Oh, oh boy, what did I read?
Something in the paper? You saw something that would cause such a catastrophic... Would they?
Sure enough, it was the misquoted ad they saw.
Take 30 bags of gold, 90 bars of silver, buy the ruby yacht.
A command is like an order.
And listen well, my dear vizier. Unless you buy the yacht, you lose your head. Not to mention other various awful things that will happen to you.
I comprehend, O felicitous one. Fear not, I will beg, borrow, or steal the sacred ruby yacht. Incidentally, what would you suggest as a starting price for my initial offer?
$1.50. You can always go up from there.
A fast camel, a slow train. It took a great deal of time to effect the passage from Pakistan to Frostbite Falls, Minnesota. Eventually, however, the turbaned emissary approached our hero's home.
Oh, my, look at the headache that feller's got.
That's a turban, Bullwinkle.
$1.50.
I'll make it 2.
$2.50.
I think you're down because I got most of the trump.
Say, what's going on here?
And the vizier made his final offer.
No, sir, Turhan Bey. My little ship is not for sale at any price.
You won't relent?
Well, not here in the front room, I won't, no.
Then look behind you.
And there, scimitars in hand, stood 20 fierce soldiers. Uh-oh, there may be some cutting up going on around here. Don't miss our next installment, Rimsky and Korsakov Go to Palm Springs, or Song of Indio.
And now for the cultural part of our program, we bring you Bullwinkle's Corner with that moose of letters, Bullwinkle.
Hello there. Today's poem is from Mother Moose.
Mother Goose.
Goose? Must be a misprint. Anyways, the poem is Little Miss Muffet. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet.
What's a tuffet?
Hmm?
What's a tuffet?
It's what I'm sitting on, eating her curds and whey. Boy, this stuff is terrible. Along come a spider at... You're the spider?
He couldn't make it.
But you ain't scary. You're supposed to scare me.
Okay, fellas, up.
Take 2. Along come a spider and sat down beside her and... Ah! A spider! A spider!
Hey!
Sorry, Rock.
Hey, Miss Muffet, your curds and whey are on your head.
Let me tell you something. I'd rather wear 'em than eat 'em.
You all remember the story of Sleeping Beauty. How as a baby she was put under a spell by a wicked fairy. How when she had grown up she pricked her finger with a needle and fell into a deep sleep from which she could be wakened only by a kiss. You remember, too, how a fence of thorns grew round the castle to prevent anybody from entering.
Anybody but me, that is.
And just who are you?
A prince, naturally. Don't you see the robes, the crown? You want to see my ID card?
Well, how do you propose to enter the castle?
Easy. I haul out my trusty broadsword and... They don't make broadswords like they used to.
The prince was distraught. What was he to do?
I'll show you. These they make like they used to.
The prince made straight for the tower room.
Sleeping Beauty, I've come at last. With one kiss, I shall waken you and... Wait a minute. Awake, she's just another princess. Asleep, she's a gold mine. I can see it now. Sleeping Beauty comics, Sleeping Beauty hats, Sleeping Beauty bubble gum, and biggest of all, Sleeping Beauty Land.
Sure enough, the castle was soon made ready as a great tourist attraction. There was Moat Land.
Have your X-coupons ready, please. Have your X-coupons ready.
There was Entrance Hall Land.
Y coupons, please.
There was Stair Land.
That's a Z coupon, folks. A Z coupon.
And, of course, Sleeping Beauty herself. Sleeping Beauty Land was clearly a great success.
1,000,001, 1,000,002. Sorry, the castle's closed till 8 a.m.
Hold it, Junior. I'm Yolanda, the wicked fairy that put Sleeping Beauty to sleep.
Well, that calls for some free coupon books.
Books, Nook, I want half of this whole setup. Or else.
Else what?
Else I use my magic powers to wake her up.
Well, now, we can't have that, can we, partner? And you are my partner, and a charming one at that. Now, wouldn't you like to see some of our Sleeping Beauty Land?
Why not?
Just step this way to Dungeon Land.
My, this is spooky.
Well, it's very popular. Some people stay here for a long, long time.
How does it work?
Well, I put these around your wrist. You see?
Yes?
Then I leave. Well, have a good time. I'll see you in a couple of years, kid.
So, once again, the prince was in business for himself.
1,064,000. 1,065,000.
Hiya, honey.
You're back. You broke the chains.
Yeah, they don't make 'em like they used to.
Well, partner, how about trying our special submarine ride?
Keen.
The cement is just a safety precaution. The city makes us do it.
I like the way it squishes between my toes.
It's quick drying, too. There. Not squishy now, is it?
If I like this one, can I go again?
I'm afraid not. It's more of a one-way ride.
So the prince was once more without a partner.
4,002,000. 4,003,000.
Hello, I'm back. That ride was more fun, especially that first part.
But-
Imagine half of all this is mine.
Yes, including the souvenir sales.
Souvenirs? How much do they sell for?
Well, this one is 75 cents. This one is $1. This Sleeping Beauty cowboy lasso is only $1.69. Now, let's see. Carry the 4 and... Say, you're in luck, little lady.
I am.
You betcha. You also get the official Sleeping Beautyland moon rocket as a bonus gift.
Goody. I've always wanted a...
And the clever prince had apparently solved his problem. But soon he had another one. For the next morning, the crowds outside the castle were smaller. And the next day, smaller still. Clearly, Sleeping Beauty was a slipping beauty. And the prince was very sad indeed. Then, suddenly...
Hi, sweetie. I'm back. And was that ever a ride?
Well, you can have the whole thing back now, Toots. Sleeping Beautyland is a flop.
Now, wait a minute. She's been asleep for 20 years, right?
Right.
Maybe people would pay money to talk to somebody who's been asleep for 20 years.
You mean...
Yes, we just wake her up.
We'll make a fortune. Go ahead and do it.
Who, me?
You put her to sleep, didn't you?
Well, frankly, no. I'm not really a wicked fairy. I'm just wicked.
But then how...
Easy. You kiss her. You're a prince, aren't you?
Well, not exactly. I never joined the union. I really make my living beating pigskins.
You mean...
Yes. I'm a hog flogger.
But just then a remarkable thing happened. Sleeping Beauty's eyes opened, and she sat up.
Don't worry, kids. I wasn't really asleep.
Then why the big 20-year act?
I just wanted to see if I could make it in showbiz. It's time to get back to our story.
Well, it may not have been in your newspaper, but there it was on the front page of the Frostbite Falls Far-Flung Flyer.
And you can see why it's called Far Flung.
Boy, look at the headlines.
Moose uncovers long-lost ruby yacht of Omar Khayyam. Pretty little doodad, isn't it?
Sure is, and it must be worth thousands.
A low estimate to be sure, especially to the ruler of a certain remote city in lower North Pakistan.
For years, the ruby yacht floated in this sacred bathtub. It was our talisman.
What's a talisman, oh grandiose one?
Okay, let's just say it was our good luck token.
You desire this humble Grand Vizier to recover the ruby yacht, oh esteemed one?
Let me put it this way. If you don't recover ruby yacht, I shall be esteemed off one.
And as we close the episode that came before this one, the Vizier was trading hotly with the reluctant Moose.
I give 4 Roger Maris baseball cards for yacht.
Not even if you throw in Leo DeRocher.
I give warped LP of Jen Pierce singing Bluebirds of Happiness.
Not even for Mildred Pierce.
Yes, apparently the ruby yacht had gotten under Bullwinkle's skin.
And the same might be said for our swords.
Hokey smokes, we're surrounded.
Rocky wasn't about to take this socked in.
Make for the door, Bullwinkle.
Alas, they were both on the same track. Minutes later, the Vizier and his burly aides paraded our captive heroes out of town.
What's the parade for, Featherby?
Don't know. Must be Labor Day or something.
I wish it were Doris Day. How about some cribbage?
But not all the good folk of Frostbite Falls were taken in. An aroused citizens committee was formed to investigate the blatant abduction.
I've wired the Secretary of State and the UN.
I phoned the gas company.
I propose we march on Washington.
Shucks, he's been dead for years.
'Twas then that Miss Plumfort, the principal of PS-12, spoke up.
I always said that Bullwinkle would wind up bad. Any boy that wears antlers in school.
Luckily, mild standoffish, the turkey farmer, entered the meeting.
I don't
wonder what all the fuss is. Shuckins, they'll never get out of the country.
What makes you figure that, Miles?
Well, you got a moose, a squirrel, 6 soldiers, and 1 grand brazier.
That's Vizier.
Yeah. Anyways, the customs men will spot that group for sure.
Sure enough, the United States Customs Bureau had every port, every airfield, every train depot saturated with steely-eyed customs agents.
Just a moment, sir. What's in that bass violin case?
Oh, just some Tommy guns and a bunch of stolen money, that's all, copper.
Okay, just checking, that's all. Part of my job. Say, Barney, what is it we're supposed to keep an eye out for again?
I told you, a moose, a squirrel, 6 soldiers.
And a partridge in a pear tree, right?
No, a Grand Vizier.
Suddenly, the whistle of the SS Plankton announced its departure.
That boat, did you check it?
No, I thought you did.
From gangplank to the wheelhouse, the luxurious ocean liner was given a thorough going over. However, passengers and crew alike were given a clean bill of health. All but one stoker.
You have scurvy, sir. Get off the boat and eat some oranges.
You saw nothing suspicious, eh, Fred?
Only thing that bothered me was the ship's orchestra. Boy, are they corny.
That is very understandable.
Okay, we take it from the top, and please, no clinkers in the reed section.
Bullwinkle, we gotta make a run for it.
What, I missed my solo?
The citizens of Frostbite Falls quickly summoned help.
Well, Sergeant, what do you and your men suggest?
I think we better call the police.
Not only the local law enforcement agencies, but the federal as well were called in to block any attempts at fleeing the country.
Sir, there are 60 young girls here who claim they're supposed to swim in the Olympics.
60, eh? Hold them for questioning.
What kind of questioning?
Telephone numbers, you know.
What about the moose, the squirrel, the Grand Vizier?
Let them get their own girls.
Meanwhile, at Pier 62, the SS Plankton pulled away from the wharf.
Captain, the Customs Bureau searched the ship and found nothing suspicious.
Excellent. Oh, by the way, tell the engineer to oil those engines. Terrible racket.
But the engines weren't responsible. The blame lay with Guy Vizier and his tremulous troubadours.
From the beautiful rumpus room of the good ship Plankton overlooking the blue Pacific in the heart of downtown Jersey City, it's the captivating melodies of the makes you want to retch music man himself. Yours truly is no one else, Guy Vizier, with a sparkling, scintillating 2.5 minutes of toe-tapping harmonies coming to you indirectly from the locker room of the SS Andrea Doria. Just a short drive from Pier 86 atop the penthouse showroom in East Side, West Side. Here now is #1 singer, gorgeous Georgia Beach, who asked the musical question, Tippy Tippy Tim?
Bullwinkle, we gotta jump overboard before we're too far out to sea.
Not yet, Rock. I got an arrangement coming up in the next set.
Look, if you're worried about the chains on your legs, don't.
Well, I must admit they did cross my mind.
Ah, but Rocky had a plan. Sure enough, during his bass solo in Four Brothers, the resourceful squirrel attached a hacksaw to his bow, and by bar 32 had sawed through their fetters. You can imagine the Vizier's surprise when at the start of a 5-minute break, Rocky and Bullwinkle dashed from the room.
Quick, the dogs are escaping.
Shuffleboard games, sun-deck bathing, all were shattered by the ensuing wild chase.
Hey, what's going on here?
Somebody requested running wild, and 2 of my boys took it literally. There they go.
The pursuit lasted well into the wee hours of the night.
They got to be somewhere on this tub. Oh, well, we pick up chase at dawn.
Phew, lucky for us they didn't look in this lifeboat.
Yeah, we sure are lucky.
A questionable statement, for the engine room was having trouble maintaining full speed.
As I understand it, the ship is overloaded. We must either jettison a lifeboat or the passengers. What do you suggest?
Don't ask me, sir. Why not flip for it? Heads passengers, tails lifeboat.
It came up tails, and wouldn't you know, the lifeboat to be sacrificed was the very one our lads were in.
He seems to be getting a trifle heavy, Rock.
That's probably a minor squall. Get some sleep.
Careful there, men. You don't want it to land in the water upside down, do you?
What's it matter? There's nobody in it.
But, George, you're right. Throw it over.
He seems to be getting a trifle heavy, Rock.
You said that.
Oh, we may be on the brink of a terrible tragedy. Only way to find out is to join us next time for The Deep Six, or It's Tough to Fathom.
And now, for all you senior students who are just about to graduate, here are some words of wisdom from Mr. Know-It-All.
Buenos dias, senors. Today's lecture is entitled, How to Catch a Bee and Make Your Honey Happy. Ordinarily, one can find a bee in a meadow of sweet-smelling flowers. However, if one lives in Death Valley, the task becomes a little tougher, but not surmountable. Here we have a Geiger counter, which tells us 2 things. whether we are approaching a bee or walking over a landmine. If the bee lover can't find the bee, make the bee come to the bee lover. This can be attained by luring him with a honeycomb. We simply take a comb, gook it up with a jar of honey, and place it on the ground. You can be sure a bee will make a beeline for it. Ah, here comes one now. That was a bee, all right. A bee-29. Moving from Death Valley to a meadow of sweet-smelling flowers, we finally do locate a bee, and there on that petal is one now. Utilizing the thumb and forefinger, we gently pick him up so as not to hurt his delicate little... Oh!
Catch the bee, Mr. Know-it-all?
No, I didn't, and I'm going to see that he never gets elected.
Well, why are you going into that voting booth?
I'm going to vote no on Proposition B.
Peabody here, and that's my boy Sherman over by the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback's all warmed up, Mr. Peabody.
Excellent, Sherman. Then set the indicator for the year 1180.
1180 it is.
Our target for today will be Nottinghamshire, England, and in particular Sherwood Forest, where we'll come face to face with that legendary rogue, Robin Hood. Before we knew it, Sherman and I were beside Robin Hood's band of outlaws. They were known as merry men, but at that moment they were anything but merry.
To think he'd do this to us, Little John.
Aye, Friar Tuck. Taking our valuables is one thing, but our clothes...
Forgive the intrusion, gentlemen, but it sounds as though you've been robbed.
We have.
That's terrible. Where's Robin Hood?
He went that away.
To apprehend the culprit?
He is the culprit.
Before we could voice our astonishment, the bushes parted and out stepped Robin. I could tell something was wrong by the way he held his bow and arrow.
I am Robin Hood, and I've come to rob you.
He stretched the arrow taut and sent the bow flying into the air.
Surrender your valuables if you value your life.
But, Robin, you just finished robbing us.
I did. Are you sure it was me?
What's this all about, Mr. Peabody?
I'm afraid Robin isn't himself.
It's his head. You see that bump on it? He ran into a falling rock, changed him completely.
Well, tally-ho. I'm off to Nottingham to play chess with Prince John.
So saying, Robin dashed for his horse. However, his judgment was sadly lacking, and instead of leaping on the animal's back, he leaped into a nearby creek.
Poor Robin.
After hanging his beloved leader out to dry, Friar Tuck unfolded a tragic tale.
This is our monthly business chart. Robin had the accident on the 8th, and you can see how our robberies have fallen off since then. And the holidays are coming up, too.
The situation wasn't bad enough. Maid Marian arrived with more trouble.
Where's Robin? I must talk to him.
What's up?
The Sheriff of Nottingham's dander. Look.
According to the proclamation, the wily sheriff was challenging Robin to an archery contest.
And if Robin loses, Prince John will cut off England's supply of kippers.
Can you hear me, Prince John?
I hear you, Sheriff.
Good. Now remember, when I shoot, you pick up the target and guide it so that I score nothing but bullseyes.
A brilliant plan, Sheriff.
Yes, isn't it?
Following day, all of Nottinghamshire turned out for the tournament, including Robin and his dejected band of outlaws.
You must win, Robin, you must.
I don't want to win. I want to rob the poor and give to the rich.
Goodbye, kippers.
Most of the spectators were focusing their attention on Robin. I concentrated on the Sheriff of Nottingham, who was engaged in some pre-tournament practice.
Look at that, Mr. Peabody. A bullseye every time.
I smell foul play, Sherman. No one's that good, except me. My suspicions were confirmed, for the sheriff's next shot was so erratic, the target had a difficult time converting it into a bullseye.
The tournament will now begin. The Sheriff of Nottingham will shoot first.
Just one moment, please. Sherman, show the folks how you can stand on your head.
If you say so, Mr. Peabody.
While Sherman diverted the crowd's attention, I made my way to a nearby tree, borrowed a beehive hanging from its branches, and casually inserted it inside the highly talented target.
That little boy stands on his head beautifully, but can't we get on with the tournament?
By all means. All right, Chairman. Up, boy. Up, up, up. Losing confidence. The sheriff prepared to take his first shot.
What's this? A bullseye every time.
It might have been, too, except the target behaved in a violent fashion and began dashing all over the place. Needless to say, the tournament was called off. As for Robin Hood, he had the good fortune to walk into a ditch, resulting in the restoration of his normal senses.
And they said it couldn't be done.
Prince John, on the other hand, was having a difficult time getting free of the beehive.
It serves him right, doesn't it, Mr. Peabody?
It certainly does, Sherman. By the way, how does it feel to witness his execution?
Execution? According to history books, Prince John wasn't executed.
No. He looks beheaded to me.
Now, back to Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, darlings.
Last time, you must recall, Rocky, Bullwinkle, and the ruby yacht of Omar Khayyam were smuggled out of the country aboard the SS Plankton. Oh, yes, the mastermind behind this daring plan was the Grand Vizier, or Guy Vizier, as he is now known.
Boy, what I wouldn't give just to hear a chorus of Kashmiri love song.
During a vocal rendition of Prisoner of Love, Rocky hacksawed their way to freedom.
Hey, what's coming off in the reed section?
Our fetters, that's what.
The Grand Vizier and his soldiers gave chase, but the one place they neglected to search was a lifeboat on sea deck.
I think we're safe.
I think you're right.
They were both wrong, for the SS Plankton was up to its plimsoll line in cargo, and something had to be tossed overboard.
What'll it be? Passengers or a lifeboat? Passengers!
Well, we couldn't get away with it on a kid's show, so it was the lifeboat they jumped. The one occupied by Rocky and Bullwinkle.
No thanks, Rock. I'm not thirsty.
What do you mean you're not thirsty?
Well, didn't you just open a canteen and spill some water?
Hokey smoke, we're foundering, and we're upside down in the water.
Boy, if there's one thing you've got, Rock, it's perception.
It wasn't easy, but through sheer superhuman moose power, the boys managed to right their craft.
Uh-oh. Fog's coming in.
Who cares? New York is in that direction. Row, Bullwinkle, row hard.
The moose complied for all he was worth. Alas, what he didn't know was that a mooring cable had snagged the prow of the lifeboat. Therefore, no matter how hard he pulled, the boat went right along with the SS Plankton.
Stroke! Stroke!
I'm stroking!
2 weeks later, the lifeboat stopped, just as the fog and their spirits lifted.
There it is, Bullwinkle, New York City.
Yeah! Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, India Ink Company. India Ink!
The realization that they had been towed all the way to the harbor of Bombay suddenly sank in.
I think I shall now be sick.
Don't waste it. Wait until you reach our remote city.
And that word remote fit most aptly, for high in the Pakistan hills, nestled snugly amid giant boulders, sat the small but exceedingly remote city of Jaipur, whose very name struck terror in the hearts of peaceful men. The Pasha who ruled this tempestuous town had no mercy with those who transgressed against tribal laws.
But you're merciless one. I didn't swipe this ruby yacht.
You did too. For eons and eons it floated in this sacred shrine.
Looks more like a bathtub.
That's what it is. Anyways, as long as it floated, the city of Jaipur had good luck.
And you mean when it was taken you had bad luck?
12 months of steady monsoons. That's a lot of rain, Jack. Yes, I call that bad luck.
But you said the ruby yacht disappeared 400 centuries ago.
You got sharp ears for a squirrel.
Well, listen here, Pasha. I'll have you know I am not 400 years old.
I should take your word for it. Take him out and cut off his, No, that wouldn't hurt him. Aha!
Ooh, ooh!
Throw him in the cobra pit.
Thus, seconds later, Bullwinkle stood swaying at the rim of a pit, while below a covey of cobras watched evilly.
We will teach you the error of false pride.
Say, weren't you in Gunga Din?
Over you go.
No, wait a minute.
Actually, we have to wait more than a minute because we've run out of time. Does Rocky have something up his sleeve? Fur? We'll find out in the New Delhi Catassin or Judgment at Bloomberg's. In
In the mountainous region of northwest Canada, at the close of the 19th century, perched on a particular mountain overlooking a gorge, Snidely, Whiplash, and Homer sat waiting.
What are we doing here, Snidely?
You see this particular rock, Homer?
Yeah?
Well, this is called flicker rock, because it is so delicately balanced that with a flick of your finger, you can send it hurtling to the ground below.
So?
Well, I happen to know that Dudley Do-Right always rides under this rock at exactly 4:33 CMT, Canadian Mountain Time. So when he passes under the rock, I give it a flick and no more do-ride.
Gee, Snidely, that's an unpleasant thing to do.
4:32, 4:33, flick!
Anything unusual happened today, Do-Right?
No, Inspector. Except after I rode out of the gorge, I had a very peculiar ringing in my head. How did you do that, Inspector?
Do what?
That thing you did with the birds and the bells.
Birds and bells? Are you feeling all right, Dudley?
We'll all be killed! Look out for the train, Inspector! Certainly are a cool one, Inspector. You just sat there and let that train whiz right by you.
Dudley!
Yes, Inspector?
There was no train in this room.
No train, but I saw it. There was this chugga-chuggity-chuggity-chuggity, you know.
Dudley, there was no train, there were no birds, there were no bells.
Well, how about that horrible creature sitting on top of your head right now?
Well, what?
Don't worry, Inspector. I'll kill it.
Guards! Guards, arrest him!
Wait. Look out, here comes another train!
You Mounties, come out from under that table and take this nut away.
That engineer must be mad.
What was that all about, Father?
I can't understand it. It was his old zippy do-right self this morning.
Oh, look out there. Here they come again there.
Dudley, what happened to you?
Why, nothing, Nell. I was just riding home by my usual route, and I felt a slight tingling sensation on my head. Look out!
A mouse?
No, it was a 16-foot polar bear. Strange, polar bears this time of year, but it's all right, Nell. It walked on by.
Polar bear? Oh, Dudley, you're sick. I'm going to find out how this horrible thing happened to you.
All right, Nell, but wait till these buffaloes go by.
So Nell set out retracing Dudley Do-Right's route to camp, hoping to find the reason for Dudley's strange behavior.
That's odd. Flicker Rock is missing. But wait a minute. There it is, with a tremendous dent in its side. It was flicked, and I'll bet the flicker who flicked Flicker Rock was you, Snidely Whiplash.
But Nell, I only meant to flatten him. I didn't mean him any real harm.
Well, you did him harm.
Homer, this is terrible.
What's so terrible? Do-Right's a kook.
But it was bad enough being chased by a sane Do-Right, but to be chased by some nuts. I must confess, I did flick a rock. But after I flicked a rock, I had a moment of regret. You don't know how relieved I was when Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties rode on, head up, body erect, and now a hopeless nut.
A dangerous maniac.
We've got to help him, Homer. We've got to help that boy. Is he muzzled?
Nell, what are you doing with that 6-foot weasel?
You see, Homer, he doesn't like me.
And that gopher in the baggy pants.
He ain't exactly in love with me, neither.
But that's all right, Nell, because the birds are taking over the world. Soon there won't be another living thing, just these horrible birds.
Oh, for goodness sake. So you see, Nell, if we take him back here to the scene of the crime...
Watch your mouth.
So to speak, perhaps it would all come back to him.
Oh, my head, such a head. Wow-wee, what a headache. Say, it's all coming back. Somebody bounced a rock off my head, and that somebody could only be you, Snidely Whiplash.
Come on, Doctor. He's cured.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dudley.
Nell, you mean I'm completely cured? I'll never see those birds again?
Yes, Dudley. As soon as you realized it was Snidely who pushed the rock, you were cured.
No, the birds are back! The birds are back!
Can I have it? I've decided to become a pigeon fancier. Every man has a right to a hobby.
Now, back to our adventure.
Well, you're just in time for what might be a very unhappy ending. In our preceding installment, Rocky and Bullwinkle assumed they were rowing back to New York, only to discover that they had been towed all the way to Bombay. The Grand Vizier escorted our heroes to the hard-to-find city of Jaipur. One of the few times in this story we haven't come up with a bad pun.
Moose, squirrel, meet His Highness Nez de Pasha.
I do not wish to offend either of you offendees, but would you mind divulging which one of you pilfered the ruby yacht?
Oh, yes, the little ship that had been stolen from that sacred bathtub 400 centuries ago.
And ever since, we've had a plethora of ill fortune.
Plethora?
A whole bunch. Now, who took the yacht?
I took it, but it isn't my yacht. I mean, it is my yacht, but I took it. That is, oh, marshmallows.
There were two ways of dying in Jaipur. Just living there and being cast into the dreaded Cobra Pit. This was to be Bullwinkle's punishment.
Shame it isn't the end of an episode. We could use Thanks for the Memory as a title.
Never mind the shop talk. Walk over into the pit.
Look, if I have to go this way, those snakes can walk over to me.
Silence, thief of thieves. Push him in. Stop! Stop! What do you mean stop? You can't say stop when we're about to push Moose over. What is wrong with you?
I said stop, and I mean stop.
He said stop.
How about that?
Well, no one had ever said that before, so they all adjourned to the throne room, leaving the snake pit behind.
Goodbye, Olivia.
Now, what gives with all this stop jazz?
Your Eminence.
Your Majesty.
Skip the flattery. We all know I'm great.
We demand a fair trial.
You're kidding.
We don't have fair trials here. We don't have any trials.
Rocky threatened to shout more stops, so a trial was agreed upon. Counselor for the accused, Rocket J. Squirrel.
What'll we do, Perry? Plead self-defense?
First off, you throw a fit.
For Bullwinkle, this was easy. While this was going on, Rocky, unnoticed, grabbed a sheet of paper, shaped it into an unreasonable facsimile of the ruby yacht, and sprayed some lacquer on it. Amazing set of coincidences, isn't it?
You can quit now, Bullwinkle.
I'm all cured.
Mr. Pasha, my client did not steal your ruby yacht. In fact, nobody did.
I object. That's in the material and an elephant.
Overruled!
You see, the real ruby yacht was here all the time in the bottom of the sacred bathtub.
With deft maneuvering that only a flying squirrel could do, Rocky brought up the yacht.
You mean it sank 400 years ago?
Exactly.
Okie doke, wise guy. What is ruby yacht Moose had?
This one, nothing but paper.
Days later, aboard the SS Plankton's return voyage...
That sure was quick figuring, Rock, manufacturing a dummy yacht and planting the real one in the tub. But I still don't know how you did it.
Look, Bullwinkle, just do me a favor. Don't enter any more boat races.
Oh, never fear. Next year, it's the marble shootout. I won't even come close to winning.
Why do you say that?
Well, look at my marble. It's all oblongish and not the least bit round, and it's got the word hope on it.
Hokey smokes! That might be the Hope Diamond.
Well, at least it won't be hopeless then, eh, Rock? Rock? Rocket J! Oh, Rock!
Continue the fun. Build your own collection of The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yes, the spirit of Moose Mania is everywhere and has everyone running, riding, or rocketing to collect all 6 video volumes.
I see you got yours.
Yes, incredibly, there are 6 volumes in all.
Oh, boy, have you forgotten the plot again?
In a word, you said it.
That's 3 words.
I'm a heavy tipper.
More of Rocky and Bullwinkle's hilarious gang of outrageous comic characters. More of that misguided Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties. More of that dastardly duo, Boris and Natasha. And still more of those slightly askew, fractured fairy tales. Yes, for those who grew up watching them, for those who never outgrew them.
Yes, yes.
And for those who are growing to love them, what more could you possibly ask for than Mona Moose, Birth of Bullwinkle, Vincent Van Moose, Blue Moose, La Grande Moose, and Canadian Gothic. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Once you collect one, you'll just have to have them all.